I mean, Tom Brady. We didn't really prepare. We didn't even know what we were doing. I didn't know who I was going to throw the ball to. I wasn't sure if I was wearing pants or not. But we went out there, and then we just did the thing that we always do. What impressed you the most about seeing Tom Brady last night, Coach?
Well, when you hear him talk about it, whoever's out there, we're going to go with. We got to get on the same page. We didn't game plan a lot. They didn't game plan a lot. We're not talking about, oh, my God, we got to get Tom Brady more help. Maybe we can trade for Khalil Mack. Is Khalil Mack available? We got to get
shade.
You know, if we can,
Aaron Rodgers
if we can just get
no,
there is no Aaron Rodgers.
Waiting all week in airport.
This is the angry sitting at the airport delayed.
Yeah.
To get off.
And another thing about Aaron Rodgers.
It's not Aaron Rodgers specific. It's the whole idea of to whom much is given, much is expected, and he holds up that end of the bargain. And whoever's there, if you run the system that you're supposed to run and you read the coverages and you're in the right place, good things happen. And that's not surprising. And to see them be that efficient in his first extended action is not surprising at all.
It's always nice to see what Tom can do with receivers, running backs that other people couldn't do stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's just Cordell Patterson. He was a great talent coming out of Tennessee, went to JUCO as a highly ranked high school player, but never has really been a receiver. Minnesota drafted him first round. Oakland, he was in Oakland. They spent money on him. He's only been a kick returner. What is Tom Brady able to do with him? Now, this is not saying they're not going to be game plan specific, but when they get rushed or they get people they feel they're going to get pressure, they run a lot of the things that they ran last night. Now, it's not game plan specific, but they did do things that would combat Philadelphia putting pressure on them. That offensive line, there's not a lot of marquee names there. There's not a lot of, just high draft picks on that offensive line, and what he's able to do with those players. They always seem like they're playing at a different speed than the defense, and that was probably the most impressive thing, what he's going to get out of other players in the NFL that other franchises couldn't. And Tommy always seems like he's at a uptick more so than the defense going against him.
And this is why the Patriots are able to consistently avoid the free agent overpay, is because they don't worry about losing Dion Lewis, because they say we will find that production somewhere else. They don't worry about losing Danny Amendola. They don't say, well, Brandon Cooks was our leading receiver last year. We know what the receiver market pays. He was a good guy. Like, we've got to pay. No, okay, fine. We can find 80% of that production for 20% of the money. And some teams that are not able to do this, either because schematically, quarterback situation, or both, if you have highly talented productive players, you almost have no choice but to, once their contract's up, got to keep them, right? Like the ability of New England to consistently find ways to ask guys to only do what they do best and to try to exacerbate their advantage in those spots allows them to be so nimble in the offseason.
Why do the Patriots do that better than anyone else?
That's the.
Well, but when we talked yesterday and you're advocating for going to get a bunch of high-priced free agents, and then on the flip side you say, well, New England's able to do this. It's available to anybody. It's about hard work. It's about discipline. It's about being committed to something that's bigger than yourself. It's about the idea that we is greater than me. Now, all those things are fundamentals of football, but they're really hard to do. And they're not fun. They're not fun. Was Philly having fun last night? New England seemed like they were having fun last night. It's a hard, challenging thing to do on a consistent basis, but it's what's right. And in the era of everybody's brand needs to be the most important thing, well, the brand should be winning. The brand should be team, and New England does that better than anybody else, and that's why they don't have to pay a bunch of guys to come in and do it for them.
New England's the only team. They're the only team that can get away with it. There is no other team. We have seen this model with Bill, and you know that. You said it. Man, it's hard to duplicate. No one's going to do it that way. No one's going to have a starting running back in James White, Super Bowl MVP James White. Last year, man, he was a second, a third, a fourth note. They highlighted Dion Lewis last year. And James White didn't say a word.
And should have been Super Bowl MVP.
Yes, yes,
he scored 20 points in the Super Bowl. Right.
I mean, people know, but Brady is the quarterback, but people know James White and what he did in that game. But he comes back. Belichick puts him back, man, you're the starter. He's the featured player last night. Doesn't say a word. They can only do that in New England because that is the New England way.
Right. I think, Coach, I think it's what you're describing is very simple, but sometimes things that are very simple are incredibly difficult, as counterintuitive as that might be. Because if it were easy, then it wouldn't be the New England way, it'd just be the football way, the NFL way. Like, everybody's doing this. And so you mentioned yesterday that me advocating for the Khalil Mack to either get paid or the Packers to go get him. I do think for the vast majority of teams, the #1 predictor of how successful you're going to be is how much high-level talent do you have?
Yes.
How many game-changing players do you have? New England has found a way to consistently do it for nearly 20 years now, a different way. But nobody else has been able to do it. Nobody else has been able to duplicate that model exactly.
Well, what's the saying? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And look, Cris became a Hall of Famer because he was willing to work hard when other people weren't willing to work hard. Everybody says, I want to be rich, or I want to be successful, or I want to be the greatest athlete, but they're not willing to do what it takes. It is a simple formula, but it's not easy. And owners and GMs and people have a tough time going through all the turbulence it takes to get to the other side. You know, we talk about it with owners, like sometimes they want you to cook a turkey, but they want it cooked in the microwave. It doesn't taste the same. It takes time, it takes discipline, it takes effort, and it takes character.
A great quote from Bill Belichick this week was, 31 teams in the NFL, they do the Nick Wright model. They try to acquire as much talent as possible, and that's what has worked. Bill Belichick said, I'm not obligated to have great talent. I'm obligated to put a great team on the field. And that's what we see year in, year out with the New England Patriots, a team that is a great team with good players.
And the saying, too, there was, we're not in the business of collecting talent, we're in the business of building a team. And that was always the approach.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.